So we have clinically integrated networks called the Piedmont Clinic. That is our vehicle for quality management across our system in all of our physician offices. They oversee this as well, the quality part of this. I'll tell you though, there's not a ton of data that you can get from it. The thing that we're monitoring more than anything is how often the physicians write prescriptions to make sure they're not overprescribing. That is most important to us. And then how many are getting resolved. And then we also, we have a construct in there where if it's a 3-minute or less phone call, and some of that's at the discretion of the provider, but if it's a shorter phone call, we don't charge the patient, but we get charged ourselves by the service a $20 consultation fee. And so how many of the calls are consultations versus actual visits? How many of those visits are resolved? How many write prescriptions? How much follow-up is there? How many requests for primary care are there? The good news is with our urgent care centers, it's easy to get somebody in somewhere else, so if somebody really needs to be seen. But I'd for those who are interested in what can it treat, just go to piedmont.org/on-call. You can see a full list of the kinds of conditions that we expect to treat. It's fairly comprehensive for virtual visits and a lot of what you would end up going to a retail center for. But we consider the whole state of Georgia ultimately to be our service area, and anybody licensed in the state of Georgia, any provider can, and actually, now that I think about it, anywhere where Karina, who's our provider for this service, anywhere where their physicians are licensed, you can be seen on the Piedmont On-Call app. So I would expect more and more people as we move into new markets so Athens Regional, Athens is where the University of Georgia is. It's about an hour and 20 minutes from downtown Atlanta. So as we move into markets that are further and further from Atlanta, we may go to Savannah one day, we may go to Augusta. As we go out in that direction, I think we'll see more of this pick up in those areas where it's not as easy to get to a physician. Yes, ma'am.
How many are physicians versus nurse practitioners or such?
I don't have the exact number, but it's about 55 NPs, percentage-wise, 55 NP, 45 physician. And you can't choose. Like on the app, you just like, hey, take the call. And that's another thing that there is a bias inside the industry for physicians, but generally speaking with customers, there's not. Yes?
Reported data, like, oh, I took my temperature and it was 104.
Mm-hmm. I mean, sure. I'm not sure what their game is at that point. You know, if somebody says I've got 104 temperature, they're gonna be like, you need to go to the emergency room.
Well, if they're trying to get a prescription or something, like they want an antibiotic for a cold or, you know.
Right. If somebody, I don't know if there's a market for gaming physicians to get prescriptions for antibiotics. I don't know that exists. I think that's they don't write controlled substances prescriptions. Yes. I don't think we have enough data to know for sure if it's driving other. I was answering you the second question, which is it part of how we want to keep people engaged? Absolutely. But this is a quick jumping off point to say healthcare systems, Piedmont included, are very conservative places. We were founded by Piedmont. We're founded by physicians. We were founded by physicians in 1905. We were 111 years old, and so you can imagine. Ellen asked me earlier, "What do doctors think about that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I did not ask them." The point being, right now, many of my peers on the executive team look at something like this and they go, "Oh, that's Matt's fun little consumer thing." They haven't quite accepted that this is part of the future yet. As they do, I think what we're going to see is a lot more physicians and other clinicians getting more engaged in the type of care that's delivered here and how they can use a platform like this to take better care of their people that they consider to be their patients. That we're not there yet.
So, yeah, so I was thinking about the financial revenue implications, right? So now you can look at fee-for-service, is it out, or do patients stay out of your system?
Hope so.
It was cheaper,
Yeah.
so you got paid less.
Oh, yeah. Well, but this is all cash.
I know, you got paid less.
No doubt.
Happens.
Sure. But you know what? $49 is more than zero. And where that patient was going was not us. Oh, yeah. We don't, there's no way to know. Right now, the volume is low, so we don't, the 90%, I know this, 90% of the visits we get here are not existing Piedmont patients. Then that's great, except that for this to be fully realized, I'd like to flip that. Right. So at some point, we need our customers using this. It's not like the primary care physician shortage is going to go away. It's not like we're going to magically have a bunch of new primary care doctors show up. We have a hard enough time taking care of all the people that are in our communities right now, especially when their number one preference is see me right now.
Isn't it an entryway to your brand, right? So, and do you have kind of follow-on nurture activities after them?
Yes. Yeah, we keep them connected to us. We're not where I want us to be when it comes to the creation and management of relationships. We're not quite there yet. 72% want to book change or cancel appointments online. And this is old data. Old. Right? So we did online appointments. And I know it's not magic, but you would think that that we had pulled something magical out, both by customer reaction and by physician reaction to this. So we use Epic's scheduling widget. We're an Epic system. Epic scheduling widget is terrible compared to ZocDoc, other folks that are much better at creating these sorts of things, but we kept it consistent with our platform. It made it easier for me internally to get it done. And this is one of those things that this rides the line between access and transparency, between access and choice. The number one benefit of this, I mean, obviously scheduling online, that's cool. Think about the dance that you normally do with your doctor's office in order to find a date, in order to find an appointment. It's this back and forth. Can you do Thursday at 2 o'clock? Nope. How about Monday at 11? Nope. How about Wednesday at 4? It's just the most annoying ever. And this allows you to sit there with your physician's calendar beside your calendar. You can pick a date. There's still a lot of process that has to happen. You still get a call from the physician's office to make sure your insurance and all that stuff is still where it was supposed to be. But you know you've got that time. It's booked. It's done. Same thing with this. This is another one of those things I could have just put in the transparency and choice bucket instead of the access bucket. ED wait times is not some revolutionary thing. The thing that we do differently than other people is that we don't consider this a tool to get more people in our EDs. Because why in the hell would you do that? They are expensive. They are miserable places. So what we do is the number that we show is door to room. It's door to provider. It's door to seeing a doctor, which is not what most people do. Most people put door to triage, right? They're like, ooh, 5-minute wait in our ED, because they want people coming in their ED. We do not. We do not want people coming in our EDs unless they actually need to be there. And so, I don't know if you can see this. This is Piedmont Henry, so it's one of our hospitals on the south side of Atlanta. It's a very busy hospital, a very busy emergency room that has a 124-minute wait at the time that we took this screenshot. we're fine with that. Same thing with price transparency.
Do you triage them somewhere else? Do you say, go to our Piedmont?
For non-life-threatening illnesses or injuries that don't require immediate care, use our quick guide to finding the care you need. You click on that button, and if you go to piedmont.org/now, you'll see that button. You'll see where that goes. It's virtual visits, urgent care, same-day appointments in primary care. We do those. It'll get you to one of those other places. I mean, our compliance lawyer, when I showed him that, he's like, but if they access this in the emergency room, isn't that violating something? I'm like, a lot of talking. The point here is not, and I was going to make an example of price transparency, because we're getting into that right now. And the operating theory behind price transparency to me isn't give me the exact price that I'm going to pay. Often they just want to know how many zeros it is. Is it 300 or 3,000? That's going to make the difference. Same thing for this. If you got to go to an emergency room, you're probably going to go to an emergency room. But how can I help manage your expectations? How can I help you understand that if you go to this emergency room, it's going to be 124 minutes on average? Maybe more for you, depending on how emergent you actually are. Or to look at this example over here, Henry was only 81 minutes that day. As you can see, they're our star performer. But Piedmont Atlanta is only 6 minutes. Now, it's a 30-minute drive from Henry to Atlanta, but you still get in faster. And so I want to give our customers as much information as they need in order to make the best decision for them.